week's episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, the Gundams finally come out to play in this week's ridiculously action-packed episode, which frankly, I think was a long time coming, but it completely paid off. This was an incredibly exciting episode. Not only did we get to see a lot of brand new mobile suits, but we got to see 3 Gundams in action at once, and it was fan-frickin-tastic. So, this episode right here is basically where the shit hits the fan. This whole Union takeover of the dorks is just going to hell, because Gjallarhorn has basically orchestrated all of these events so that it would just look like a big, clean massacre. Basically, they provided all of these faulty and rigged mobile suits and weapons to the Union workers so that as soon as they go out into space, it basically gives Gjallarhorn the excuse to just completely demolish them. And that's exactly what they do. And it's a shame, too, because I really loved those new mobile suits they showed at the very beginning of the episode. The ones that were piloted by the Union soldiers. They were big and bulky, but they looked really awesome, and I just loved the color scheme of them. But Gjallarhorn just comes in and just completely destroys all of them. And what I love about this is that Guileo is still sticking to his honor. He decides he doesn't want to be a part of such an operation. He only has to go into battle or forces himself into battle when the Gundam finally arrives. And the build-up to that, oh my gosh, my friends, it is ridiculous because everything in the colonies is just going to hell. There's attacks going on all over the place. Gjallarhorn soldiers are coming in. The Tekkadan group is trying to sneak out in any way that they can. And then you got Kudelia Ina Bernstein, who's doing everything in her power to convey her message to the people. Luckily for them, they run into this news crew who they assimilate into the Tekkadan group, and they use their ship to basically escape out into space so that Mikazuki can get to the Gundam. This is an amazing scene right here, because not only do we have the Barbados in action, which he's using a massive cannon in one arm and its giant flail weapon in the other, but then suddenly Guileo launches in the Kamaris Gundam, which looks fantastic, and it's totally fitting for him. It's belonged to his family for generations. It's got this like white, light purple color scheme, which I really like. It sort of gives it like that royalty feel, and because Guileo is kind of like a knight, he has a big lance weapon, and he's able to fly around real quick with these thrusters which come out of the feet of the Gundam. It just looks so damn awesome and slick the way it's flying around. And as they're battling, we have some other brand new mobile suits which are joining the battle. You have Shino, who has his customized weapon, which was actually the one that belonged to Crank originally, which he calls the Ryusei-Go. And it basically has this like paint job on the face, which is kind of like what they did with World War II planes, except that his looks a little more goofy. And just the fact that he's piloting Crank's ship, and then he eventually fights against Ein, is just so perfect. And as if that were not enough, we also get the introduction of Akihiro's Gundam, the Gundam Frame Gujin Rebake. Akihiro arriving in this episode, in this mobile suit battle, is one of my favorite scenes from the entire series, because you have Guileo in the Kamaris Gundam, who's getting ready to charge into Mikazuki, and then suddenly Akihiro arrives, and he uses this massive shield, which was taken from the Gujin, to deflect his attack away, and then they both double team and just completely destroy him. This scene is fantastic because, one, it gets to show off all of the different abilities of the Gujin Rebake. I especially love the fact that its face actually opens up, and you can see a more traditional looking Gundam face underneath. And there's a scene where he actually takes his big axe out, and then just throws it right at the Kamaris Gundam, but then Ein gets directly in the way of that technique. Ugh, the action scenes in this episode, guys, they were so good. Definitely, I think, the best mobile suit battle that I've seen from the entire series. They just really poured it on in this episode, and I'm glad that they did that, because it's been like, I think 4 or 5 episodes since we've had a real proper mobile suit action scene, and it just paid off in this episode, man. Kick ass! The episode ends with Kudelia Ina Bernstein being filmed by the news crew as they're broadcasting live to practically the entire frickin' universe, the colonies, and Earth. And the reason that they were able to do this is because of Nobliss Gordon. Apparently she called him directly and basically had him by the balls. So now she's communicating her entire message to everyone about the liberation of the colonies and of Mars, and basically this is when shit is about to get get real. And it really makes me appreciate the fact that we are going to get a second season, because there's going to be a lot of build-up from this moment, and I just gotta say that this is probably one of the best episodes of Iron-Blooded Orphans. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans? You know it was awesome. This was one of the best action episodes of the entire series. It was also incredibly tense as well. I was almost convinced by the end of the episode that either Ein or Gaelio could have been killed in this mobile suit battle. I honestly thought Ein was screwed when Akihiro ended up throwing that giant axe at him. I thought it was going to go like right through the cockpit or something, but no, they ended up making a quick escape. And just the overall just feel of this battle was just fast, intense, hyperactive. I just really loved it, and I loved the image of Shino's brand new mobile suit with the two brand new Gundams standing on top of the Tekkanan ship at the end. It just looked so cool, and it's a good thing that Kudelia finally decided to give that speech at the end, because as that was going on, they were about to just get completely destroyed by Gallarhorn, but they finally decided to stop when she started giving that speech. What more can I say about this week's episode of Iron-Blooded Orphans, aside from the fact that it was just a spectacle for the eyes? It was really, really action-packed. It really proved that Gallarhorn is underhanded in the way they perform their operations and how they manipulate certain events, and how they were basically just rigging all those mobile suits so that the Union soldiers couldn't do anything in them. Like, they would make it seem like they had, like, full gas, basically, in the tank, but they don't. They have full, like, clips in the guns, but they have actually no bullets whatsoever and the guns won't fire. It gives them the excuse to attack them and make it look like they were getting ready to perform some sort of, like, big massacre. It's just insane how crazy and villainous Gallarhorn really is. I have a feeling they're going to build them up maybe just a little bit more in the second season of Iron-Blooded Orphans. Not to mention, we still barely even saw anything from McGillis, otherwise known as the Char clone from the series. I still can't wait to see what his motives are going to be in this story. All I know is this was a cool episode of Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Check it out, Gundam fans. Check it out, Mecha fans. And you know what? Check it out, anime fans. You're going to see something you like. But if you did watch this week's episode of Iron-Blooded Orphans, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Did you have a favorite mobile suit from this week's episode? A favorite action scene? What did you think of the Gundam Kamaris and the Gundam Frame Gujin rebake? What do you want to see from the rest of Iron-Blooded Orphans? Make sure to tell me in the comment section below. You guys are kick-ass. Thank you for watching this review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.